Hope you have found this video useful. The best way to support the channel and ensure you don't miss our next upload is to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Part 37.22, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, dear listeners, to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. We commence part 37.22 of our spiritually expansive study of Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. This section provides the divine conclusion and subsequent rewards for the supreme act of Taslīm, submission demonstrated by Prophet Abraham and his son. Having established Abraham's send spiritual excellence in the preceding verses. Verses 106 through 110 detail the great sacrifice's replacement, the immense nature of the trial, the everlasting legacy bestowed upon Abraham, and the ultimate divine salutation of peace. This narrative confirms that the true victory of the slick spiritual seeker lies in achieving perfect sincerity, iqlb, and earning the eternal recognition and profound peace of Allah. This passage is the spiritual foundation for understanding the reality of Hillah divine friendship and the transformative power of spiritual sacrifice. Kanzul Iman Quran, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 16. This was indeed a manifest trial, following the divine call that affirmed Abraham's intention. Allah himself classifies the nature of this unprecedented event. This was indeed a manifest trial. Ina hdh lahua el balb u el mud. Linguistic analysis of balb u el mud. Balb denotes a severe test, a trial, or a difficult experience, derived from a route that implies wearing out or proving by testing through exposure to hardship. Al-Mubin means manifest, clear, or clearly evident. This phrase emphasizes that the test was clearly difficult, touching the core of parental love and prophetic duty, and its purpose, to reveal the total, absolute sincerity of Abraham's tawhid, was clearly achieved. The definite particle la indeed certainly underscores the magnitude and unique severity of this particular test, distinguishing it from all other prophetic trials, including the fire of Nimrod, as this trial concerned the deepest personal bond. The phrase confirms that this trial was not only clear in its inherent difficulty, but also clear in its outcome, revealing the depth of Abraham's faith to all witnesses, both human and angelic, settling any dispute regarding his calcal status, friend of God. Sufi perspective on balb. For the sklik, life itself is a continuous balb. But this trial represents the climax of spiritual purification and the ultimate gateway to Makmeh Hillah, to sacrifice one's most beloved possession, the son. A gift of grace attained through earnest prayer for the sake of the Commander Al-Mir, is the ultimate test of Mahabba, divine love over human love, Mahabba Bashiriya. The Kalb Sour must be willing to endure the Balbu El-Mubd to attain fan annihilation of the ego and Baka subsistence in Allah. This is the necessary fire that burns away all residual attachment to the dunya world and the self, culminating in the complete sincerity iqlb that makes one worthy of Hillah. The spiritual meaning here is that the purity of the heart is only authenticated under maximum pressure, confirming that Rio, a spiritual exertion, must be absolute. The trial forces the ego to surrender its highest desire, securing the soul's freedom. Theological significance of the test. By calling it a manifest trial, Allah confirms that the test's value was not in the physical act, but in the perfect submission tasseled and sincere intention. Iqlba of Abraham. The test was so immense that its fulfillment elevated Abraham to the pinnacle of humanity. This shows Allah's name Al-Mumd, the giver of death, being tested against Abraham's love for Al-Hay, the ever-living, proving that Abraham prioritized the eternal over the temporal. This establishes the hierarchy of divine love above all else, where nothing is held back from Al-Maklik, the owner of everything, including life itself. Legal, jurisprudential insight. This establishes a theological principle that the magnitude of reward is directly proportional to the magnitude of the trial. It justifies the legal difficulty of certain acts of worship like jihad, hajj, or strict calm, confirming that the highest rewards are reserved for those who submit to the most difficult commands. This verse underscores the difference between mere performance of a ritual and sincere, difficult obedience rooted in certainty yak. This principle is often referenced in fiqh literature when discussing acts that require personal sacrifice and the importance of nija. Hikam. Aphoristic interpretation. Do not measure your devotion by the ease of your acts, but by the magnitude of the loss you are willing to face for the command. The manifest trial reveals the purity of the hidden heart, for the essence of Balb is disclosure and the proof of Mahabba. Only that which is dearly beloved can be a manifest trial. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 107. And we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. Immediately after confirming the trial's severity, Allah reveals the divine replacement and the nature of the ultimate sacrifice. And we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. Wa Fadanju by Debina. Linguistic analysis of Fadanju and Debine. Fadanju means we ransomed him, indicating that the son was exchanged for a substitute, signifying divine mercy and the ultimate success of the trial. By Debine means with a great sacrifice. The term am great mighty is crucial. It refers not merely to the size or type of the ram, but primarily to the spiritual greatness and cosmic significance of the event itself. This great sacrifice became the sunnah practice for all Muslims in the form of Diyal, a feast of sacrifice. The greatness is amplified by the fact that the command for sacrifice was fulfilled in intention, making the ram a symbol of the spiritual victory over the nafs. Sufi perspective on Dabwin Nam. The great sacrifice symbolizes the continuous need to sacrifice the ego and worldly attachment, the true dobor slaughter that must occur in the heart daily. The ram was a physical substitute for the life of the nafs that Abraham was prepared to kill. The Sufi's journey is a perpetual Dabwin am, where the seeker must constantly sacrifice their personal will, Urda Shaikia, to the divine will, Urda Ilhiya. This sacrifice is the core of Tawhid, achieved by the heart, not the hand. This sacrifice secured the Kalb Salb, sound freedom from the ultimate worldly attachment, the beloved Son, transforming human love into pure divine love. The annual Akgaya is a meditation on this inner struggle, a renewal of the covenant of Taslīm, and an act of remembrance, dhikr. The theological significance of the ransom. This confirms Allah's name, Muk the maintainer, sustainer, and Arrm, the merciful. The ransom was a means of preserving the life of the Prophet and his son, while validating Abraham's sincere obedience. The greatness of the sacrifice implies its long-lasting significance and its connection to the ultimate ransom of humanity by the final Prophet, peace be upon him. This act is a manifestation of Ar-Rahma al-Wc, the all-encompassing mercy that always follows the highest act of submission, demonstrating that Rahma supersedes divine wrath. Legal jurisprudential insight. The ram's substitution established the enduring tradition of animal sacrifice, agiya, in Islam, linking the ethical duty of sharing meat with the poor to this momentous act of submission. It teaches the community that the outward ritual is a commemoration of the inward. Essential taslib, emphasizing charity and communal responsibility as a fruit of iqlab. The legal ruling of Akiyah is a form of ongoing dhikr remembrance of Abraham's taslib. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The Dabwin is not the ram you slaughter, but the attachment you kill in your heart. The greatest ransom is the redemption of the soul from the clutches of the ego exchanged for the freedom of perfect Tawhid. When the intention is pure, the action is ransomed by divine grace. Kanzul Iman. Sfaran. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 108. And we left for him good report among the later generations. The immediate, immense reward for the completion of the trial is eternal renown. We left for him good report among the later generations. Wa, Tarak, Alay, Fl, Kiran. Linguistic analysis of Tarak Nalay and Fl Kiran. Tarak Nalay means we left for him a lasting remembrance or good report. Fl Kiran means among the later generations, specifically encompassing all future people until the day of judgment. This promise ensures that Abraham's story, faith, and submission will never be forgotten and will be eternally praised by succeeding peoples, including Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This is an honor granted only by Al-Biyaki, the everlasting, and demonstrates the lasting effect of an act performed purely for Allah. The phrase Fl Kiran covers the vast spiritual and physical progeny of Abraham, ensuring his influence spans across all revealed religions. Sufi perspective on Kidgan legacy. The enduring good report is the fruit of prophetic truthfulness, kig, and sincerity, iqlb. Abraham sought nothing but the pleasure of Allah, yet his reward was an everlasting place in the hearts and memories of all believers. This teaches the sklik that true legacy is not what one builds materially, but the enduring spiritual truth one leaves behind. The Kalb Salarm achieves immortality through the lasting light of its actions, maintained by Al-Dubyrs, the inheritor, the supreme owner. This spiritual legacy is far superior to any worldly honor, as it continues to generate reward even after death, Kadakadriya, linking the individual act to universal benefit. Theological significance of renown. This emphasizes Allah's name, Al-Majid, the glorious, and Al-Mu, the giver of life. Allah not only saved Abraham, but also eternalized his memory, fulfilling the request Abraham made in Surah Ash-Shu'arab, chapter 26, verse 84, and grant me a reputation of honor among later generations. This demonstrates the immediate and full acceptance of Abraham's prayer, linking the power of sincere supplication to its magnificent result. Historical, ethical insight. This verse is key to understanding the status of Abraham as Abu al-Anbab, father of the prophets. His legacy provides the common spiritual and ethical root for the monotheistic faiths, uniting humanity on the principle of Taslīm and the rejection of idolatry shirk. It is an ethical reminder that truth endures, while falsehood perishes, as seen with the idolaters in previous verses, creating a moral compass for historical evaluation. Hikam. Aphoristic interpretation. Seek not the praise of the living, but the affirmation of all BBK. When you leave the world, let the quality of your submission be your lasting report. For a noble deed performed in iqlb secures the approval of the Eternal. Outliving empires and generations. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 109. Peace be upon Abraham. Tees. The highest and most profound reward is the direct divine salutation of peace. Peace be upon Abraham. Salman. Alb Ibrahim. Linguistic analysis of Salman Al-Ibrahim. Salman, peace, is a noun, used here in the indefinite nominative form, convey an absolute, perfect, and eternal peace, blessing, and safety. Salman is the attribute of Allah Assalam. The salutation itself is a declaration of divine safety and satisfaction, guaranteeing Abraham protection from all calamities, fear, and punishment in this world and the next. This is the ultimate honor, delivered by his Salm, the source of peace. This unique salutation confirms that Abraham attained a spiritual rank few others achieved, a state of perfect harmony and reconciliation with the divine will. Sufi perspective on Salm. This divine Salm is the spiritual goal of the Kalb Salarm, sound heart. Abraham achieved internal and external Salm through his submission. The Salm is an assurance of security from fear, worry, and the punishment of the grave. For the sklik, earning the divine Salm means entering the state of Nafs al-Magina, the contented soul. Perpetually tranquil and accepted by the Lord, this is the highest proximity curb achievable, the final stage where the servant rests completely in the Beloved's good pleasure rewen. The Salm is the spiritual antidote to the balb he endured, confirming that the peace granted is commensurate with the struggle. The theological significance of a Salm, this direct salutation, is an unparalleled honor, echoing the promise of peace given to the inhabitants of paradise, Surah Yasin, 36-58. It signifies the end of all trials balb and the beginning of eternal reward, cementing Abraham's status as the Kalklela. The salutation confirms Allah's name as Salman, is a formal divine guarantee of safety and blessing for all time, establishing the profound depth of the divine-human relationship achieved through iqlb. Legal jurisprudential insight. This establishes the legal and moral permissibility of invoking peace and blessings upon prophets, setting the precedent for the alut, prayers and peace, upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his pure progeny, which is an act of obedience and veneration tayyam. The repetition of this formula in all major monotheistic traditions underscores its legal significance as a universal act of respect. Hikam. Aphoristic interpretation. The worldly reward is a fleeting report. The eternal reward is the divine salutation. Strive for the state whereas Selm declares, Selm upon your soul, For that Selm is the beginning of the eternal journey and the ultimate confirmation of acceptance. Kanzul Iman, Quran. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks, chapter 37, verse 110. Thus do we reward the righteous. This final, comprehensive statement universalizes the principle of reward, linking Abraham's victory to all faithful servants. Thus do we reward the righteous. Kodanlika, Najkel, Musinin. Linguistic analysis of Kodanlika and Najkel Musinin. Kodanlika, thus in this very way, confirms that Abraham's experience is not a unique exception, but a pattern of divine justice and grace. Najgel Musinin, we reward the righteous excellent ones, reaffirms that the reward structure is based on Iḥsān, spiritual excellence. This is the closing statement, applying the standard set by Abraham to all believers who achieve the station of Iḥsān. The use of the continuous verb form Naj indicates an ongoing perpetual act of divine reward for this category of believers, showing the eternal nature of the recompense and the divine commitment to rewarding sincerity. Sufi perspective on Iḥsān as a standard. This verse makes Abraham the standard bearer of Iḥsān. The Sufi path is essentially the striving toward Iḥsān, which means executing all duties with perfection and sincerity, motivated by the awareness of Allah's presence. The rewards promised to Abraham eternal fame, safety, and peace, available to all who walk the path of Iḥsān and emulate his submission Taslīm. This is the essence of Sunnah, a lived example of spiritual excellence that is universally applicable to every believer striving for divine proximity. The term Musinin implies not just those who do good, but those who do it excellently and sincerely. Theological significance of justice. This universal reward principle confirms Allah's perfect justice al-adl. The divine system is equitable. The severe trial of the righteous is met by a corresponding, magnificent reward, confirming that sincerity iqlb is never wasted and is the key currency in the divine economy. This emphasizes the names Al-Waqam, the Judge, and Al-Muqsik, the Equitable. The universality ensures that hope is open to all who strive, confirming the truth of Al-Haq, the truth. Legal, jurisprudential insight. This is a crucial theological statement underpinning the principle of meritocracy in the afterlife. Reward is not arbitrary but is earned by those who strive for Iḥsān in their religious and worldly duties, providing the ethical motivation for God consciousness and consistent good behavior. Mu'amalat. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The divine reward is a pattern, not an accident. If you seek the reward of the Kalkul, emulate the sincerity of the Mughsin. The path of excellence leads to the reward of the exalted. The pattern of success is always open for inspection, sealed by the divine promise. Hadith, the primacy of actions and intentions. The divine salutation and eternal legacy awarded to Abraham. Verses 108 to 110 are the perfect realization of the prophetic statement on the value of sincere deeds. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The best of people are those who are most beneficial to people," related in Al-Mujam, Al-Awsat. Hadith contextualization and analysis, Sufi emphasis. Beneficial legacy. Abraham's act of submission was not only for his own spiritual elevation, but also established the rites of sacrifice, Aqiyah, and pilgrimage Hajj, making him eternally beneficial manfei to all succeeding generations. This proves that Iḥsān inherently leads to immense public benefit and an eternal good report. Sufi service khidmah. The sklik learns that Iḥsān must manifest as service khidmah, by benefiting others through his pure devotion. Abraham earned the permanent salutation of Salm. The essence of Tasawwuf Sufism is turning inward to purify the heart, only to turn outward and serve the creation as a sign of perfected love for the Creator. Abraham's legacy is the model of this transition from internal iqlb to external khidmah, embodying the perfect harmony of faith and action. We conclude part 37.22. We saw the trial defined. This was indeed a manifest trial. The divine substitution was provided, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. The eternal legacy was bestowed, and we left for him good report among the later generations, and the supreme honor of peace was granted. Peace be upon Abraham, all culminating in the universal principle. Thus do we reward the righteous. May Allah grant us the strength to face our trials with Taslīm and be counted among the Musinin. O Allah, O Mughzin, the doer of good, make us successful in the balbu el-mubd of this life. Grant us the sincerity to offer the dabwinamevs and worldly attachments. Bestow upon us the eternal salm of your presence and count us, by your grace, among the musinin who achieve excellence in submission, so that our lives and legacies may reflect your pleasure and benefit the UMA. Amin.